Hey, this is Mark, and you're welcome to AUTOSAYS. Picture this. You're driving home late at night, snow is falling hard, the roads are barely visible, and your hands are gripping the wheel so tight your knuckles are white. Now imagine your car suddenly takes over, navigating perfectly through conditions that would make even experienced drivers nervous. Sound like science fiction? Well, it's happening right now, and what Tesla just released is making the entire automotive industry sweat. Before we dive into this game-changing update that's got everyone talking, hit that like button and subscribe because what you're about to learn could change how you think about driving forever. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why legacy automakers are scrambling to catch up and why your next car might be smarter than you think. Let's rewind the clock for a moment, because to understand where we're going, you need to know where we've been. Back in the early 1900s, when Henry Ford revolutionized manufacturing with the assembly line, he made a bold prediction that one day cars would practically drive themselves. People laughed. They said it was impossible. Fast forward to 2025 and we're living in that future Ford imagined, but here's the kicker. The company leading this revolution isn't Ford, GM, or any of the century-old giants. It's Tesla, a company that didn't even exist 20 years ago. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Tesla just dropped their full self-driving version 14.2.1, and the reviews coming in are nothing short of mind-blowing. We're talking about software that's learning faster than a teenager getting their driver's license, making decisions that would stump veteran drivers, and doing it all while you sit back and watch. But before you think this is just another tech update, let me tell you what's really at stake here. The global autonomous vehicle market is projected to hit $557 billion by 2026. That's not a typo. $500 billion is up for grabs, and right now, Tesla is sprinting ahead while everyone else is still tying their shoelaces. So what makes this V14.2.1 update so special? Let's break it down. Tesla owners across the country are reporting something that sounds almost magical. The car feels alive. One driver logged nearly 400 miles with 0 safety disengagements. 0! That means the car handled everything thrown at it without needing human intervention for safety reasons. Another driver took their Tesla through unplowed, snow-covered roads in New Hampshire, the kind of conditions where you'd expect even the best autonomous system to throw up its hands and quit. But it didn't. The system stayed cautious, made smart decisions, and got them home safely. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's impressive, but what's actually changed under the hood? Here's where Tesla's approach gets fascinating and a little bit scary for their competition. The update cranked up the sensitivity of the in-cabin cameras, the ones watching you to make sure you're paying attention. This isn't Big Brother's surveillance, this is smart safety engineering. See, the weakest link in any semi-autonomous system isn't the technology, it's the human behind the wheel who gets too comfortable and stops paying attention. Tesla knows this. They've studied the data from millions of miles of real-world driving, and they've seen what happens when drivers zone out. By making the monitoring system more sensitive, they're essentially forcing you to stay engaged, which statistically makes you safer. It's like having a co-pilot who's always watching, always ready, never tired, and never distracted. But here's where the story takes a darker turn, and this is something the big automakers don't want you thinking too hard about. Remember when Blockbuster laughed at Netflix, when Nokia dismissed the iPhone, when taxi companies ignored Uber? Those weren't just business mistakes, they were extinction-level events for companies that failed to see the future coming. Right now, traditional automakers are staring down the same barrel. General Motors just announced a massive reorganization, consolidating their AI, software, and product development under one roof, hiring talent from Apple and other tech giants, and promising Level 2 and Level 3 autonomous driving by 2028. That's 3 years away. Tesla's already there, and they're not standing still. Ford, Volkswagen, BMW, they're all racing to catch up, pouring billions into electric and autonomous technology, but here's the brutal truth. In technology, second place is just the first loser. The company that gets autonomous driving right first doesn't just win, they reshape the entire industry in their image. Let's talk money, because this is where things get really interesting. The average American spends around $10,000 a year on car ownership when you factor in payments, insurance, gas, and maintenance. Now imagine a future where your car drives for Uber while you're at work, making you $500 a month in passive income. Suddenly, that Tesla isn't just a car, it's an asset, a money-making machine sitting in your driveway. Elon Musk has talked about this vision for years, the idea that your car could essentially pay for itself by operating as an autonomous taxi when you're not using it. Wall Street analysts who understand this potential have valued Tesla not as a car company, but as a technology and services company, which is why their market cap has at times exceeded the combined value of the next several largest automakers. This isn't about selling cars, it's about controlling the platform that runs the future of transportation. Think about it. When was the last time you thought about what operating system your car runs? Probably never, because up until now it hasn't mattered. But in 5 years, it might matter more than the brand name on the hood. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, because I know some of you are thinking it. Is this actually safe? Here's where we need to separate emotion from data. And the data tells a compelling story. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, human error causes 94% of serious crashes. 94%. We're terrible drivers. We get distracted, tired, drunk, angry, overconfident. We text, we eat, we do our makeup, we zone out. Computers don't do any of that. They don't get tired after an 8-hour shift. They don't look at their phone when it buzzes. They don't misjudge a turn because they're arguing with their spouse. Tesla's full self-driving has now logged hundreds of millions of miles in the real world, and with each mile, the system gets smarter. It's learning from every Tesla on the road, building a neural network of driving knowledge that no human could ever match. When one Tesla encounters a tricky situation, every Tesla learns from it. It's like having millions of driving instructors all teaching the same student simultaneously. But, and this is crucial, the technology isn't perfect yet, which is why Tesla still requires driver supervision. That's not a bug, that's responsible engineering. The V14.2.1 update, making the attention monitoring more sensitive, isn't Tesla admitting the system isn't good enough, it's Tesla understanding human psychology and building in safeguards for our weaknesses. This is actually the smart play, the conservative play, even though it might not feel like it when your car is navigating a snowstorm without your help. Here's something most people don't realize about the economics of autonomous driving, and this is where the finance angle gets really juicy. Right now, the trucking industry in the United States faces a massive driver shortage, somewhere around 80,000 drivers short of what's needed. Long-haul trucking is grueling work, weeks away from home, long hours, health problems from sitting all day, and dangerous conditions. It's also expensive. The average long-haul truck driver makes around $45,000 to $65,000 a year plus benefits, plus training costs, plus liability insurance. Now imagine replacing that with an autonomous system that works 24/7, never needs a break, never gets tired, never makes a mistake because it fell asleep at the wheel. The cost savings are staggering. We're talking about trillions of dollars over the next decade. Tesla knows this. So does every other company racing to perfect autonomous trucking. The first company to crack this code doesn't just win a market, they fundamentally reshape global logistics and economics. And speaking of economics, let's talk about what's happening in Europe right now, because it's a perfect case study in how infrastructure and technology have to evolve together. Ionity, one of Europe's largest fast-charging networks, just came out with a statement that surprised a lot of people. They're not worried about having enough charging stations, they're worried about having too many. In Germany, there are roughly 60 electric vehicles per charging station, which sounds good until you realize that charging operators need much higher utilization rates to make their investments profitable. The infrastructure is growing faster than the adoption of electric vehicles, which creates a weird economic problem. You need the infrastructure to convince people to buy EVs, but you need people to buy EVs to make the infrastructure economically viable. It's a chicken and egg problem, and the only way out is through companies are betting billions that adoption will accelerate, that by 2030, roughly 40% of all charging will happen in public locations, with most of that happening at high-speed stations. If they're right, they'll make fortunes. If they're wrong, we'll see a lot of bankruptcies in the charging infrastructure space. This is the Wild West phase of a technological revolution, and like all such phases, there will be winners and losers, fortunes made and lost. Let me throw another wrench into this discussion, because the autonomous driving race isn't just about technology and economics, it's about data. And data is the new oil. Every mile a Tesla drives with full self-driving engaged generates data. Road conditions, traffic patterns, driver behavior, edge cases, unusual situations. That data feeds back into Tesla's neural networks, making the system smarter. Now here's the scary part for competitors. Tesla has a multi-year head start in data collection. They've been gathering this information from their fleet since 2016. That's 9 years of data, billions of miles, millions of unique situations. Other automakers are trying to catch up, but data isn't something you can just buy or shortcut. You have to collect it, clean it, label it, and feed it into your systems over time. This is why General Motors is reorganizing their entire tech structure, why they're hiring aggressively from tech companies, why they're throwing everything at their autonomous driving program. They understand that if they fall too far behind in data and AI development, they might never catch up. It's not about building a better car. It's about building a better brain for the car, and Tesla's brain has a significant advantage in experience.
Now let's get to something that should terrify and excite you in equal measure. Elon Musk has said he expects full self-driving to eventually feel sentient. That's a loaded word, and it's probably hyperbole, but strip away the hype and think about what he's really saying. He's talking about a system that anticipates, that predicts, that makes decisions so smoothly and naturally that it feels like there's a thinking entity behind the wheel. We're not there yet. V14.2.1 is impressive, but it's not magic. Drivers still report moments where they need to take over, situations the system doesn't handle perfectly, edge cases where human judgment is necessary. But here's the trajectory. Each update gets better. The improvements aren't incremental, they're exponential. Machine learning doesn't improve in a straight line, it improves in a curve that gets steeper as the system ingests more data and refines its models. What seems impossible today might be routine in 2 years. What seems magical in 2 years might be outdated in 5. So where does this leave us? Here's my take, and this is where the inspiration comes in. We are living through a legitimate revolution in transportation, one that will be as significant as the shift from horses to cars in the early 1900s. The decisions being made right now by companies like Tesla, GM, Ford, and others will shape the next 50 years of how humans move around. This isn't just about convenience or cool technology, it's about fundamentally rethinking our relationship with machines, with safety, with freedom, and with productivity. Your kids might grow up in a world where owning a car that you have to drive yourself is seen as quaint and dangerous, like riding a horse on the freeway would seem today. They might never get a driver's license because the concept becomes obsolete. That future isn't certain, but it's possible, and it's coming faster than most people realize. Tesla's V14.2.1 update is just one step in this journey, but it's a significant one. It shows that the technology is maturing, that real-world performance is catching up to the hype, and that the race is very much on. The stakes couldn't be higher. Economic dominance, technological supremacy, and ultimately, human safety. The question isn't whether autonomous vehicles will become mainstream. The question is who will control that future and what world they'll build with that control. So if you found this deep dive valuable, if you're as fascinated and maybe a little bit concerned as I am about where we're headed, do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to AUTOSAYS, and drop a comment telling me what you think. Are you ready to trust a computer with your life? Do you think Tesla will maintain their lead, or will someone else catch up? Most importantly, are you excited or terrified about this future? Because ready or not, it's coming, and understanding it now means you won't be left behind when it arrives. This is Mark, and remember, the future of driving isn't about better cars, it's about smarter ones, and that future is already here.